Hey y'all, it's Hunter with rangehot.com. Hope you are doing well. This afternoon I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk to you about preparedness. Now I know you're used to seeing my videos and reading my articles, and it's going to be about gun reviews and ballistics testing and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like this is equally, if not more so, important. So right here where I'm at in North Carolina, we're kind of just coming out from underneath the effects of Hurricane Florence. Now thankfully, I'm inland enough to where all we got was heavy rains and moderate winds. There's a whole lot of folks that fared way worse than we did, and man, my hearts and prayers go out to them. It is very reminiscent of when Fran came through in '96 and just made a hell of a mess of everything. Now, when Hurricane Florence was beginning to be tracked and they were starting to make predictions, I was in the Czech Republic with CZ doing the factory tour and the range day and all that sort of stuff. And I was a half a world away. But due to some ground rules that we've kind of established in my area, at my house, I felt like I was at least as prepared as I could be, all things considered. And I've read some articles and watched some videos about preparing for disasters. There are a lot of good ones out there, but there's a couple things that I feel like have been omitted that I want to go over with. So I'm just going to kind of go with it. These are my personal thoughts, my opinions. Your mileage may vary. Use at your own risk, all that sort of stuff. So anyway, let's get on with it, y'all. One of the rules that I like to live by is I like to keep 3 weeks worth of non-perishable food at my house all the time and continually rotate that stock. And what I mean by non-perishable foods is a can that you can open, pour in a bowl, and eat. It may not be great, it may not taste perfect, but it will keep the wolf off of you. And if you don't have a can, that the can openers, it's got the little pop top, make sure you got a damn can opener at your house that doesn't run on electricity, or a couple of them. I mean, come on, y'all. This is just common sense. And I'm not getting on you. I'm watching some of these people, some of their feedback, and some of the stuff I see. It really surprises me. But anyway, this is going to be uncut, unfiltered, exactly coming out of my brain. So be prepared, but it's not going to be that bad. Anyway, back to reality, Hunter. Food, not just food for yourself, food for your animals. I make sure I got a month's worth of food for my kitty cats in case something bad happens and the stores are closed or I can't get to them or what have you. It ain't just you got to look after. It's every living creature that's in your house you've got to be responsible for. And you know, we all know that the checklist has been redone and rehashed and recited so much that we can all about say them in our sleep. Toilet paper, batteries, flashlights, jugs of water, you know, all that sort of stuff. Yes, all that is very important, but that's been gone over enough to where I don't feel like I've got to rehash all that. We're all at least have a few functioning brain cells, and we understand the fundamentals of keeping yourself safe and out of trouble when disaster strikes. But something that I have seen that's been omitted a lot, and I'm not exactly sure why, is the self-defense, personal protection, firearm aspect of it. Not sure why, but I want to touch on some of my thoughts. When disaster strikes, and it's terrible, and you know, there's really not a whole lot we can do about it, but as you know, when something bad happens like that, power outages, hurricanes, you know, bad storms, the criminal element begins to get a little bit motivated, as you can see on TV, by stores being looted and people being mugged and robbed and hurt, and home invasions increase. Crime goes up because people have been without electricity. They're maybe running low on food. They're tired. They're becoming soft targets. If you don't think the criminal element that don't know that, you're being willfully ignorant at this point. So, in my opinion, your firearm is just as important as that can of Campbell's soup you've got in the cupboard there for when things get bad. Now, personally, I don't give a damn what kind of gun you're using. All I want you to do is be proficient with it, make sure it's functioning, make sure it's reliable, make sure you've trained with it, make sure you got enough damn ammunition hanging around to where, God forbid, if you got to use it, you don't have a mag or two of self-defense ammo and then, well, I'm done. Personally, for me, you know, I've got my concealed carry permit. I carry a handgun with me everywhere I go. I think handguns are fine, but they are certainly no substitution for a long gun or a rifle. Now, for me, especially, you know, when things get a little weird, I got this little 7.5-inch Barnes Precision Machine SBR in 5.56. And here again, I'm not really telling you, here's what you need to have at your house. I'm just giving you examples of what I've got. Maybe give you some thoughts and ideas on maybe you like that particular aspects or thoughts of it. Now, all of my home defense firearms, I damn sure run a silencer on it. Especially a little 7.5-inch 5.56, man, because it is loud. So if you ever had to discharge this thing inside, whew, my Lord, you'd want to suppress that report. So consider that. Also, you want to have a pretty good light, a decent light mounted directly to your firearm. And I like to run a little 1-power red dot as well as backup iron sights. And this is a pretty good home defense setup all the way around. So there's no reason why it also wouldn't stand in as a good keep it beside your chair while you're listening to your generator run sort of thing. So just an example of why I have chosen some of these features. You know, if your power's out, you're living with, you know, oil lamps and candles, something bad happens, you definitely want to be able to identify any kind of threat. So have a good flashlight handy for sure, but any kind of firearm that you're considering using is self-defense, home defense, especially during a disaster, make sure you have a weapon mounted light. I mean, really, I think that's just good common sense. And don't overlook the handgun. Now here is the Dan Weston Discretion, chambered in .45 auto. It's got a rail on it, so I'm also able to run a light. Threaded barrel, here we're running a Liberty Suppressors Cosmic. So again, really good solid home defense handgun. Has a light, it's got night sights on it, and the ability to suppress the report. So God forbid if you've got to use it inside, it's not going to be so bad. And here again, just a couple examples of stuff that I like. Make sure you got plenty of loaded magazines. Make sure you got plenty of ammunition. Make sure you've run the gun lately. You know that it's reliable. You know that it's functioning. You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a couple spare parts hanging around that if something does happen, either if your gun goes down, you've got, you know, gun B, spare gun, or the means to repair it and get it back operational. Even if it's some sort of field service repair. And maybe, you know, y'all probably thinking, well, damn, Hunter, you surely being awful paranoid. And yeah, that very well may be true. But just because you're paranoid don't mean they ain't watching you. So here again, I'm kidding a little bit, but I'm also being very sincere to y'all. I look at all of y'all, man, I really appreciate all the support that you give Range Hot, watching the videos, reading the articles. And I just want to kind of give some of my thoughts on, you know, this disaster. Or not this particular disaster, but anything that may happen that you find yourself in less than ideal situation. You know, hopefully, God forbid, you would never ever have to need that home defense, self-defense firearm. But even consider having plenty of food, pet food, medicine, toilet paper, water, all that stuff that we, here again, I'm rehashing and said I didn't need to, so my apologies. But just consider that. Anything that you would carry daily for self-defense, it's not a bad idea to have something at least equal to that on hand and be prepared for something bad to happen. So that's really about all I got, y'all. Just kind of rambling, giving you some of my thoughts on how things are going. If you've been affected by the hurricane or any sort of disaster, my heart goes out to you. I'll be praying for y'all. It's bad, but it's getting better every day. We've got a lot of good, solid Americans standing up, helping one another. This country, I'm seeing for the whole, is coming together to help each other. And in my mind, that is the spirit of America is. You know, we may not always agree on a lot of stuff, but when the chips are down, I feel like on the whole, we kind of come together and look after each other. So I would like to kind of keep that going. If you've got any more thoughts or ideas on what you've got in your preparedness kit, please, you know, comment on the video. Let me know what you think. If you disagree with anything I said, hey, no problem. I love to start these videos and get them up to promote discussions about, well, you know, Hunter, I'm not sure about that, but, you know, here's what I do, all that sort of stuff. As you know, feedback, good and bad. I'm going to have an article on rangehot.com that's going to have a lot of the same thoughts on it as well. So reach out to me, let me know what you think. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, the whole 9 yards. And we can kind of maybe look out for one another. So that's about all I got, y'all. I want you to take care of yourselves and each other, and I look forward to seeing you at the range. And don't forget, when you get in a bind, a cold silencer makes an excellent toilet paper holder. Just make sure if you're using it, the can is cool to the touch.